It has been around 2 years since the first video we made and 9 videos since the last real-life martial arts showcase, so I thought it to be a high time to dive back into the roots of both this channel as well as the roots of human fist fighting itself. So let us once again talk about African martial arts.
Yay!
Africa is full of all kinds of fighting styles like Tahtib from Egypt and Nguni stick fighting from South Africa with notable practitioners like Shaka Zulu and Nelson Mandela. But I'm not much of a weapons guy myself, so I digged around to find some interesting unarmed styles for you fine folk. All my sources are down in the description if you want to know more about any of these. First on our list today is the art of Moraingy. Moraingy is a form of striking combat from Madagascar. Often taking place in celebrations of all kinds, Morangi is traditionally seen as a way for men to show their virility and ability to deal with hardships that life may throw at them. Pretty, traditionally macho, I think, but these days women too are permitted to join in on the practice.
Nice. Love feminism.
Hell yeah. Male practitioners of the art are called Fagnorolagi, and females are called Fagnorovavi, I think. Similarly to many other African styles of ritualistic combat, a game of Moraingy begins with one man issuing a challenge and other one answering to it, often accompanied by some sort of music. Depending on the area it is practiced in, bout of Moraingy might have a referee, the fight may go to first blood or until knockout, and it might be either just punches or in many occasions both punches and kicks.
Very versatile.
So no biting, scratching, gouging and going for the eyes or striking a downed opponent. Moraingy has very similar techniques compared to striking sports of the West like boxing and savate. Techniques include but are not limited to mitso or a straight punch, mandraeoki or hook, wangofari or a swing like a haymaker, wangomiryuiki, a strike kind of similar to an uppercut, as well as defensive techniques like miolotsi or dodge by moving both feet or moving the body part that is aimed at, and mipaiki or parry. As an avid stand-up fighter myself, the art of Moraingy sounds and looks like a ton of fun. If I had the money and time, I would definitely like to go and see how the style is actually trained and fought with over there. It has some differences compared to kickboxing, like the technique of wangofari, as windmill punching or haymakers is seen as amateurish in Western styles, but here it's as valid as any other strike. Also, in many of the videos I've seen, the use of jumping side kicks and round kicks is surprisingly frequent. They just fly at the opponent all the time. It's very, very jarring to see for a kickboxing training.
I think because it's there's also cultural significance, so maybe there's an aspect of also wanting it to look cool. That would probably be a big aspect.
Yeah, it's wanting to seem brave and strong and courageous by wildly going at the opponent. That might be it.
If somebody does that sport or knows more about it, we would like to know.
Yeah, let us know, definitely. There's only so many ways a human can accelerate their bones towards another, so the outward appearance of styles might not vary so heavily, but the cultural aspects and the difference in how the styles are practiced and their naming conventions and all that is still very interesting to me. The art of Moraingy has spread to other places like the Reunion Island, where it is practiced with the name Moringe. The difference between Moraingy and Moringe is that in Moringe the point isn't to knock out the opponent. Instead, it's much more like a game or a dance and focuses more on kicking techniques, very similar to styles like capoeira or its predecessor Engolo. Speaking of which, let's talk about Engolo next. Engolo or Engolo, meaning the zebra dance, is a martial art originating from Angola in the west central coast of Africa. It focuses exclusively on kicking and sweeping techniques. Often referred to as the ancestral style of the much more famous dance-based kicking art capoeira from Brazil, so I will be talking about capoeira too for the sake of comparison.
I have done capoeira.
I know, and
for a little bit.
I'm gonna ask you about that later.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Just like capoeira, Engolo is played in a circle of people accompanied by music. The music is usually clapping, drumming, humming and singing instead of instruments like the berimbau used in capoeira. A game of Engolo starts when someone either starts to clap or sing a melody that others join in on. One person gets into the middle of the ring and goads other people to join him. When a potential participant steps in, the game begins. In Engolo, the point is to aim for the opponent's head and upper body. There don't seem to be any hand strikes in Engolo aside from takedowns like vingativa that is also found in capoeira. It's a sort of standing takedown where you dive inside the opponent's stance with your feet behind theirs and with your side against their side. From there you push the opponent over with your upper arm and body. I can say it's an effective technique and works even in kickboxing sparring if timed correctly. Trust me, it's been done to me many times. In Engolo, hands are used primarily for low stances where you balance yourself on the ground with the help of your hands to achieve varying kicking angles and heights. They're usually not used for blocking, which contrasts Engolo with other Angolan martial arts like the slapboxing style of Kandeka. Engolo games are usually fairly short, just a couple short exchanges or even just a couple of kicks. From there, the one who thinks they lost or just wants out either turns their back on the opponent or raises their hand up and leaves the ring for someone else to take their place. Compared to any striking arts I've done, styles like Engolo and capoeira too are really fascinating. I would love to do something like this where the point is just to, do the art instead of winning. All the styles I've done, kickboxing, taekwondo, muay boran, baji chuan, all of them are focused on beating your opponent usually as fast as possible. But something more gamey like Engolo would be a nice change of pace. You could much easier practice something like this in a park or in your backyard without getting the strange looks me and my buddies got back in the day when punching each other silly next to a football field.
For the record, that was really weird.
You've done capoeira, right, honey? You wanna talk about that a little?
It was like 2005. I don't remember much, but it was fun. There was some dancing and kicking and acrobatics and music. So it's a very versatile sport, I would say.
Yeah.
I do recommend it. It was really fun.
I should try it someday. Okay, so last on our list for today is Lucha Canaria. First off, huge thank you to Cell for translating the sources for this one. They also added their own anecdotes about the style since they have some personal experience with it. Now then, let us move on to the indigenous folk wrestling style of the Canary Islands. According to some sources, Lucha Canaria might come from the earliest pre-Hispanic native inhabitants of the Canary Islands, but later attempts to hide the style's origin because of the disdain towards anything pagan or primitive by the conquering Spaniards gave rise to a lot of incorrect information about the style's origins back in the day. That sucks.
That does.
That's fucking stupid. Canarian wrestling is a huge part of the Canary Islands' cultural heritage. It is even taught in schools during physical education where kids learn how to have proper matches against one another. It symbolizes the identity and pride of the Canary Islands.
That's so cool.
That's very fun. I wish we had that, like a specific style of our own that has been practiced long ago. Sadly, we don't.
We just have a bunch of pseudoscience guys who invented a shitty martial art, and we're like, oh my god, this goes back thousands of years in the Finnish culture, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you on about?
Check out our video on Finnish martial arts.
It was really interesting though.
Yeah. So, what does the wrestling itself actually look like? This style could have very well been in my pants battling video as well. Go check that out too. Since the style is heavily focused on the grip. In Lucha Canaria, fighters grip each other by the boca pierna, meaning the rolled mouth of their trouser leg, with their left hand. The right hand goes first straight down and held against the opponent's hand. From there, both fighters move their hand to the opponent's back. There, the free hand is used to assist with trips, throws and reaps by grabbing the opponent's shirt, while the other hand is still firmly holding the trouser grip. In Lucha Canaria, the aim is to force your opponent to touch the ground with anything other than the bottom of their feet. Fights are held in sandy circles called terrero, literally meaning just flat space of dirt. It consists of 2 concentric circles with diameter of 15 and 17 meters. Techniques in Lucha Canaria are very similar to other trouser grip styles like Sirium or Schwingen, and has a lot of carryover to other styles as well. For example, a technique like burra, literally meaning the donkey, where you grip both boca piernas and do an outside leg hook, would work extremely well in styles with more ground fighting elements like BJJ, judo or even MMA. But overall, Lucha Canaria is fairly simple and restricted in how it's played. The two things most important to Lucha Canaria is nobility and the grip. In Lucha Canaria, nobility and respect towards your opponent is extremely important. The winner of the match must help the defeated wrestler up and is obliged to shake hands with them. Celebrating before judge has declared the winner is considered unsportsmanlike. Insulting either the judge or your opponent, otherwise failing to conduct yourself in a suitably noble manner, or failing to hold the grip, will lead to a warning or even get you disqualified. These two things, the grip and nobility of the fighter being so heavily emphasized, gives Lucha Canaria a very distinct feel and brand, I guess you could say.
And also respect that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think in a lot of martial arts, respect and being responsible for your own behavior is like very heavy in a lot of those. And this just like brings it in a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's
like you can literally lose the fight just because you weren't being respectful.
Yeah, imagine in like UFC, if you could get disqualified for being a dick, half of the fighters would be gone already.
Yeah.
To me, Lucha Canaria is maybe a bit too restrictive, but I can definitely see the appeal of the sport. Just a pure test of strength and technique with not too many unnecessary frills. Straight to the point and effective in what it's trying to do. I also love how much emphasis they put on how to conduct yourself and treat your opponent, just like Honey said here.
I'm very smart.
I know you are. Being rude or just a self-absorbed asshole has no place in martial arts in my opinion, so Lucha Canaria and the people of Canary Island get major respect from me for making being a decent and noble person such a big deal in their style. Maybe one day I'll have to go to Canary Islands and give it a try myself. Oh no, I have to go to Canary Island. That was 3 fascinating martial arts from the continent of Africa. I've posted all my sources for this video down in the description. If I've misinterpreted anything said in these sources, please let me know. I want to share accurate information, but I am not a professional researcher of any kind. There's still many more styles in Africa, and I recommend all of you to go read up more. My videos are meant more as a jumping point than a comprehensive deep dive. So please go ahead and read more about these 3 martial arts as well as styles like Kokawa, Libanda, Bakweri wrestling or the slapboxing Kandega that I mentioned earlier if you're at all interested. That's all I have for now. Check out our other videos on regional martial arts and subscribe to the channel for more martial arts and video game content.
Yeah, buddy. Bye.
Bye.